Ask yourself this. If you felt there was a way to make the system easier for your brothers and sisters, would you do it? If you knew that the system was hard, the testing process, the assessment centers really made it difficult for people to really comprehend how to get promoted, would you take that opportunity to make it better? In part two of our conversation with Mike Elhihi, he talks about how he created the Front Seat Academy, a program exclusively designed to help his brothers and sisters excel during the assessment centers. Without further ado, let's get back to it, folks. Part two with Mike Elhihi. Mm, I love it. Let's dude, great conversation so far. Let's get right to the meat and potatoes of this stuff. Front Seat Academy. Let's talk about what it is, how you came to it, why you started it, where you came up with the name. This is all about the academy.
Yeah. It was never planned. So when I took the company officer exam, we do it through an assessment center. It's a third party that comes in and they run a tactical sim, a role play scenario, an interview, an essay, an in basket. Pretty standard, I guess, the entire industry. Just
Mm,
who offers the test, if it's internal or external, that's really the only difference. But that's happened to me. And I decided I was going to take the test, and I decided early I was only going to take it once. Like I said, I'm only going to take this once. I'm not going to do it twice. And me and you have talked offline.
mm,
I'm heavily involved in the union, and not that I was worried. I mean, I was worried, but not that I believed it. But I had a little fear in the back of my head, like deep down inside, that man, if there is a chance that I don't do so well, or I make it more appealing for somebody else to take the promotion over me, I wonder if I'm not going to get chosen because some of my history as a union rep, right?
mm.
It's because you're always the point of friction. You don't intentionally mean
Yeah.
to. Like, I don't wake up every day saying I want to be the point of friction. But when you have a large member behind you asking you to go represent them, you're going to cause some friction somewhere.
Oh yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah. And combat that with all I kept hearing is, man, when people take the test, they always change. They change who they are, they change their mentality, they change their ethos. They almost conform to this test captain. And that's how they
Hmm.
get we hear all the time, like, you're different when you promote it or you answer a question. So I didn't want to do that. So I told myself, I'm gonna make myself undeniable and I'm gonna not change who I am. I'm going to develop an algorithm and develop study habits where I can be exactly who I am today as a firefighter and take this test. And I ended up scoring a 97 point something out of 100. And I ranked number one. And I don't say that to be facetious or boisterous, but I say that to show everybody that you do not have to change who you are when you're taking that promotional exam. You
Mm. No,
just
of
have
course.
to be dedicated and committed to your own mission and your own study habits and your own discipline. And that's kind of that's the story. And then shortly after that, people started approaching me saying, "Hey, I really need help with the company officer exam. Hey, I need some help with some interview questions. I need some help with this." And I said, "Man, if so many people need help, why not reach out and help them?" And it was never meant to be what it is now, but I found great pleasure in helping people work through a company officer exam, but
Mm.
maintaining who they are,
Yeah.
maintaining their voice, maintaining their ethos, maintaining their heart in the interview, in the role play, in their essay writing, even in the way they do their tactical sim, right? Maintaining that firefighter mentality, that for them, the people and the mission. And that's kind of the genesis of it.
Oh, I love it. Um, so is this primarily just for entry level officers, or have we gotten to, sort of next level up and different level of officers with front seat?
Right. Well, it's typically it's it's created for the firefighter that has made a decision that they want to promote. One of the worst things that
Perfect.
I experienced when I wanted to go through this process was it was so darn expensive to take
Mhm.
classes. Like you'd spend $500 for a 2-day, in-person interview prep course. Then you'd have to spend another $400 just on the tactical sim, and then you'd have to spend X amount of money, and then you at the end of it, you're like $2,000 in, and you're like, okay, I don't know what to do. So I told myself
Yeah.
that was never gonna be what I wanna do. So I created a program that you can take online, 100% online, self-paced, on your phone, tablet, computer, and it goes over a few topics. There's a whole section on leadership, and then there's a whole
Mhm.
section on the interview, and then the role play, and the in basket, the tactical sim, how to write a resume versus a statement of qualifications, how to have difficult conversations inside the firehouse. Just a foundational piece of study material that someone who really wants to take the company officer exam can purchase for a very low cost, so they're not breaking the bank on it, and maybe
Yeah.
learn a little bit about leadership, learn about difficult conversation. So while you're preparing for the test, you're actually going to be preparing for the seat because I've made it so it's a very short bridge. You're not having to study for the test. And then once the test is over, learn how to sit in that seat. I've created this program for you to feel like the test is the seat.
Oh, man, I, I love it. What, looking online and stuff, because I mean, obviously, I know there's one example I'll give in a second, but have you, generally speaking, received a lot of positive feedback from, what you post through, social media, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, and stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah, it's been amazing. So I think I started my social media page um, just with a post and a few words. I think back in May or June, and
Mm,
it's been absolutely amazing. The culture of social media, not the culture of the firefighters that are on social media. There is clearly a gap that needs to be filled, a vacuum that needs to be filled. And I love experiencing it every day because some of the most controversial topics that receive attention, it just makes me realize how much of a gap there is between, when somebody is a firefighter and when they want to promote. Like just the other day, I posted, you've changed. Just a simple phrase, because I hear it all the time at the firehouse, right? They're the app, hey, you've changed, or hey, you've changed, or I remember I used to be a firefighter. We joke around, but there's some meaning to it deep down inside. And
mm,
why should a firefighter, when they promote, change their ethos, their mentalities, their heart, their their passions, their grit? I agree. There are some things that you will have to take on in addition, your responsibilities, your scene assignment, your tool
mm.
complement, you should say, right? Your daily tasks, but who you are as an individual should never have to change. And that was the whole point of starting the social media side, was to kind of show that and push that agenda where if you want to be a company officer that is that is who you are as a firefighter, there is a way to do it, and I want to help you get there.
I love it. We, I think everything I've seen so far has always been all positive on your post. I think there was one that just made me question. Um, it was the rundown of a scene size up. You're given, what we're gonna do, what you have for, an occupancy, give your fire conditions, and it was like a 2 or 3 word response by some follower that was like too much information.
Right.
And I I I sat on it for a few days because I'm like, "Oh, maybe it's just somebody, busting his balls. Maybe maybe it's one of the guys back at the house or whatever the case is." And I look at that from a chief's standpoint. I there is a fine line between giving, um, too many filler words with information, but I'm like, "Man, what you listed out, I could tell you with my eyes closed what you saw, what you had, and what was going to happen, where everything was going to be established.
Right.
And I feel it comes from people who generally are just not aware of what really needs to be relayed on on those reports. You know, the stuff that has
Right.
to be said, because it's you have to paint the picture for your incoming crews as far as what they have.
Right.
And I mean, it one of the things, man, is you're so soft spoken that it sets a such a calm tone that what I love about it honestly is that you know, a calm tone from a first arriving officer, just it sets the rhythm for the rest of the event. If it's a, you know, calm, you know, oh, looks like we got fire coming out, you know, the second story window on the alpha side. That's pretty cool. Then when you get there, it's like, oh yeah, he wasn't lying. There is fire coming out that, you know, it's amazing, you know, or you get the hollering guys who you know, they're screeching. It's like, oh, they must have a little bit of smoke coming out the eaves, you know. Again, it sets the tone in a negative way for the fire. And now you're, you know, everybody's just on edge because the chief is hollering over the radio. So you're thinking, you know, you get the vision of, you know, nuns and orphans hanging out the windows when the chief is yelling like that, and you get there and it's like, chief, you got boiled over eggs on the stove. Like, what are we yelling for?
Well, you said two things that I think are important to note for the listeners. One, the positivity side. I think social media and having an online presence, there is way too much negativity than there is positivity. I think I've never been a social media person, and I think everybody who has a page out there that is trying to put good information out, it's it hurts my soul a little bit how much negativity gets volleyed back in return. I think there's a lot
Oh,
of good
sure.
resources out there, and I I heard this the other day, and I will not take credit for it, and I'm trying to remember who said it, but he said, "Whether whether you're a volunteer or you're a paid firefighter, we all volunteer to be here," you know?
Mm,
And I love that so much because I think we were focusing so much on this negativity in the fire service today. And I see it today as a company officer. The negativity around the firehouse, it is like anchors just holding a boat back or just sinking
yeah.
it. And if you can shed some of this negativity and just kind of go at it with a little bit of positivity, I think we're going to do some extraordinary things. And now the second point you talked about, so I'll tell all the viewers this. When I give arrival reports on the radio on an incident, they sound way different than when I'm preparing for a test. And this is some
Mm,
of the things that so here's a great example. So I'll go back to that author Simon Sinek, and I suggest everybody get out there and read this guy. He wrote a book called The Infinite Game, and
mm,
basically quotes a theologian that says in life you have two types of games. You have finite games and you have infinite games. A finite game is a football game, baseball game, soccer game. It's when the rules are known, the players are known, there's a start time, there's a finish time, there's a way to get points, there's a way to lose points, there's a winner, there's a loser. The other type of game is an infinite game where it's unknown and known players, unknown rules, unknown ways how to get points. You never know when the game's going to end. You never know when the game's going to start. The promotional process is a finite game. It has to be. It's points based.
mm,
So you have to go in it with a mentality that you cannot leave points out on the table. It's different. The tactical simulation is different than the interview. The interview is about your you could be about your maturity, your development, your mentorship, how much you've been paying attention, where your heart is, the mission. But in something like the tactical sim, it's strictly points based. And if you know how to
mm.
get the points, you can be successful. And that's one of the things that really inspired me to do this is because how many good firefighters do you know that should be company officers, but they just never score well on the test because the test is
Yeah.
all weird, right? And that's the what I wanted
Yep.
to bridge. So going back to that, in a tactical sim, you have to remember the proctors can't score you if they don't hear it from you. They can't they can't they can't hypothesize that you're going to be in the offensive strategy and that you're going to forego two out because of life priority. You have to physically announce it to get the points in that simulation. But I get it. It sounds like I'm speaking a novel, in the text, where the command post is, foregoing two out, give me a second alarm, give me an additional AMR
Sure.
unit, right? It seems like it's a lot because in real life, you don't say that. You just step off, give an arrival report, and get to work. But for the test, that's the way to gain those points.
Yeah, and I think that's likely where that comments are probably misunderstood. But I will tell you, brother, flat out, I what you said is nothing more than what I wouldn't have expected you to say, if that makes sense. It was
Right.
definitely we have individuals out there who just love to hear them, hear their voices on the radio, and will tell you, we're going to go down half a mile, turn left, pump the brakes a little bit, and then you're going to back up to the hydrant, hook it up. They just like
Right.
to give you directions. But that one, dude, was not that bad. It not even close. And that's why. But to the negativity, I mean, a lot of it, especially on social media, comes definitely from what I do with my platform. I say things that make people feel uncomfortable. And when they feel uncomfortable, their first reaction is generally to, try to make me feel uncomfortable. And it could be the same thing with you too, where they don't know what to do. So they're like, oh, let's make, we got to go after this. We don't know what he's saying, or whatever the case is. So that honestly could be part of what the problem is. But
Sorry, I lost you for a second.
no, that's perfectly fine. So what I was just going over was how with some of my stuff, people, they comment negatively, and it's because they feel uncomfortable. They feel like they're being attacked, and that's generally how it is with anybody in the fire service. They feel like they're being called out, and sometimes we're not even calling them out as individuals. We are literally just having a conversation, and if bringing up something makes them feel uncomfortable, and it kind of is what it is. But it's
It's
nah,
unfortunate.
that's good
It's
stuff.
unfortunate. And I think it's everyone talks about it, right? We keep talking about how the fire service needs to be more positive, not only like locally in your firehouse or on your apparatus, but I think globally we are falling into this.
Mm,
And I think a part of it is, I mean, think about all the major topics that we've talked about. Now, a lot of it is warranted. We've PTSD, mental health, overworked, the burnout, right? Those have been the major topics of the fire service, I feel like, for
yeah.
quite a few
Yep.
years, right? So naturally, I think it's easy for us to kind of stay in that environment. And, I push all company officers to understand that just because that's the environment we're in now, it doesn't mean we have to keep staying in that environment. We have to find a path out of it,
Mm.
and it starts with positivity.
Oh, dude, without a doubt, and it just because we've always done it that way doesn't mean that's the way we have to keep doing it.
Mhm.
No, I love it. So what's on the horizon for you and for front seat? I mean, are we, expansion? Are we gonna kind of keep just enriching on what we do or stuff like that? What's the big 30,000 foot view look like for you?
The 30,000-foot view is I wanna change the parameters in which company officers are promoted. That is the 30,000-foot dream, and I'm not saying that the system is broken now, but I am tired of hearing that the best candidate for the job is not the best candidate chosen. And I
Mm,
think it is a huge factor in why we are struggling with leadership. We are spending so much time pouring our resources and time and financial abilities into leadership, and I feel like the gap
Mhm.
is only widening. I think part of it's because we have a lot more young officers in the organization. We have people promoting at 5, 6 years. We didn't traditionally do that, 10, 20 years ago. People had more time on. I think that the dynamics of the fire
Yeah.
service are changing dramatically, but we keep striking out on this leadership thing. And I think one of the components in which we can take back the mission and take back the culture of an organization is promoting the officers that are the people that we need to be in that seat, not the people that just scored
Yeah.
well on the exam. Uh, I think that's a huge
Yeah.
factor in this thing,
No, it's
and
true.
it's a huge factor. And for me, I wish I could develop or get the ears of the entire fire service world to develop a promotional exam which doesn't bypass the years you put into the calls you've been on, the experiences, the respect of your peers. Like one great idea for me is I think the current company officer rank should have a say in the promotion into their rank. We just don't do that.
Mm.
It's think about an entry level exam. When you interview an applicant who wants to be a firefighter, who sits on the first interview panel? It's a group of firefighters. Is typically the initial interview before they go to chiefs. It's
Mhm.
individuals who you're going to be a peer to peer with. They make a judgment of whether or not you're going to be a good fit for the organization and a good fit for the core group of firefighters that are sitting in front of you. Are you going to be a good roommate? Are you going to be someone we can count and depend on? Someone we can laugh with at the firehouse and have a good day with off duty? Why, when we promote to company officer, do we not provide that same privilege to that same rank? Y- Um,
Yeah, no, it's true.
these are just little nuances. I, I think 30,000 foot view is to somehow being able to bridge what we're doing now and what we need to be doing to bridge that leadership gap. Now, going back to the micro, man, every day is a new thing. I'm thinking about starting to. I just started working on my own book. I want to put some words to paper
Nice.
on leadership, on the promotional process, on mentality. And, people are buying my online program. They're taking it and they're calling me up, and we're having organic, you know, conversations about leadership. And I'm just reaching out to people and we're having one on one conversations, and it's just developing every day. I'm really excited about it. Maybe a few conferences in my future. We'll see.
That's awesome. So if somebody wants to get a hold of you or order the program, what's the best way to go about doing it?
So you can go to my social media page, which is Front Seat Academy underscore official, or you can go to frontseatacademy.com. And on it, you'll have a link to the online course that you
Perfect.
can take, and that's the best way. On my social media page and on my website is my email and contact information. If you have any questions or you're like, I just need help with the interview stuff and I don't want to pay for it, and just reach out to me. This is meant to help develop and mentor people. Uh, this was never meant to be, a means of income, right? And so I want to be there to
Mm.
mentor and develop anybody I can. And it's been great. I've had to force myself how to learn blue card for all my blue card people, and um, I've worked with about 15 people so far in the last 3 months. It's been amazing all over the country from the East Coast, Canada, West Coast. I had some bomberos reach out with some stuff. So it's been amazing. It's been such a good experience.
Dude, it's
Yeah.
so cool. I think really where you're hitting too though is there's a ton of leadership stuff out there, and I don't want to discredit that because I mean that's obviously here we are with my platform, but
Yeah.
you're hitting something that I think is an amazing um huge gap in the fire service with we don't do anything to really prepare our people for promotions. And I think having somewhere somebody can look up questions, for that might be given during an interview process or something of that nature, I think is such a huge void that you're hopefully going to be able to fill and make a difference in the fire service's life. And I would even go so far as to say that firefighters who have already experienced promotion at this time should still consider your program, because there's going to be things in there for them to learn to do better. Because it's not a surprise to anybody in the fire service that we do a really good job of teaching firefighters how to be firefighters, but we've never been able to teach leaders how to be leaders.
Right.
There's a ton of platforms that are out there to do it, but there's just it's such a gap. I mean, a chasm, if you will, in the fire service of actually preparing people to be a leader. I mean, I know yours is preparing more so to get, the tests and all that stuff, but Jesus, if some even if they've already taken the test and have got the promotions, it's still not a bad idea to look up your stuff and get what they can out of it.
Right.
Um
All the stuff on social
for what
media,
is
all the stuff on social media is free. There is no cost. And every day I'm posting a leadership thing, or
yep.
some is for the Sims, some is for interviews, some is for the role play. But you're right. Like, there is a lot of great platforms out there for leadership. Yours is one, and I can list 100. And I follow and I listen to all of them, and
Mm,
the content is a 10. The problem is I feel like we're promoting some of these officers and then teaching them. We're not building the
mhm.
foundation into their curriculum before they get there. And
Yes.
that is one of the biggest things that I see that's prevalent in the fire service is there's so much content out there. I just need it to go before the promotion side, and really develop these officers.
Yes. And you might be hitting where everybody else is missing, honestly. Where you are in more of the proactive side, where a lot of the other stuff is the reactive side. It's well, you're the officer, now what? Whereas you have the mentality of, okay, you want to be an officer, here's how we're going to get you there type thought process. It's you're definitely on to something. And I mean, every day I see your stuff and I'm like, dude, I love this. It's always good stuff. It's always pure
Appreciate
fire,
that.
pure
I
fire.
appreciate I
I love it.
appreciate that. I
Um,
appreciate.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't really, so I think, before I end it, is there anything that, we missed that you really wanted to kind of cover, or, um anything else that, the viewers definitely need to hear, as far as what's going on in the fire service and the culture that we live?
No, it's been an absolute pleasure to be on here. Um, I just encourage everybody to.
That's poor internet, but that's fine. I'm pretty sure we may have to have another conversation. That's all. I might have lost him. So while we wait, guys, for Mike to come back in, it looks like he's probably lost his internet, um, which is not uncommon in the great world of technology. Um,
I don't know what's happening
yeah,
there
here he is. He's
anymore.
coming back on. I get him.
Oh man,
There
sorry.
he is.
I got rats, rats in the
I got you.
Wi-Fi. No. Um, I'll leave it real short. I encourage everybody to maintain the mission, and one of the things that I found most comforting when I stepped into that promotional role is I've always people someone told me you have to maintain this idea and this ethos that's people first. And when we go on calls, the people is the community. We always put them first. But for some reason, when we get back to the firehouse, we forget that people first means our people. And I
Mm.
encourage all company officers, all formal and informal leaders to hold on to that concept of people first and grip it tight and never let go of it. And please, if anybody wants to talk leadership or tell me that my Instagram post isn't right and they have a better idea, reach out to me. My email's on there. DM me. If you want to take the program, take the program. If you want to call me, just ask me a question, I'll answer it. Like, let's build some strong company officers. I am here for the long haul, and it's been an absolute pleasure. I am humbled that I am here. I am humbled that I'm here from the begin from my unique background and where I started and how I got here. And I'm learning every day. And I promise to all your viewers that I will be a silent leader. I will listen, and then I will help develop the next generation.
I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Mike, that's all the time that we have for today. And for everybody that's out there, all of our viewers, as always, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for spending time with me and Mike and the Front Seat Academy here on The Passionate Leader. If anything tonight stuck or resonated, make sure that you share it. Make sure that you're giving both myself and, more importantly, Mike, hit him up on Instagram and on TikTok, Front Seat Academy. You're not going to want to miss what he has to say. Every day he is dropping absolute. They're not even nuggets at this point. They're nukes. They're truth nukes. Make sure you're giving everybody a good share across all platforms. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, lead with passion, serve with humility, and leave no room for bottom feeders. Until next time, guys, stay safe.